Shout Factory TV, changing the channel.
It's the week of November 18th, 2014.
And this is your weekly shout out.
I'm Brian Ward.
And I'm Jennifer Landa.
And this is your weekly shout out.
The only show on the web that keeps you up to date with all things Shout Factory Blu-ray and DVD.
Whether it's looks at this week's releases, sneak peeks at upcoming releases, exclusive interviews, or just a good time, this is where you'll find it.
This week, we're looking at Monkey Shines, The Dark Half, and Pumpkinhead II, Blood Wings.
But first, we've been combing through the old archives recently and noticed our releases have quite a bit of star power.
That's right. So we thought we'd introduce you to a little game we like to call 6 Degrees of Shout Factory.
Using only Shout Factory properties, we want you to tell us how to get from Weird Al Yankovic to Cedric the Entertainer in only 6 moves.
Let us know how you'd get there by visiting us on Facebook. Later in the week, we'll tell you how we got there.
Weird Al Yankovic to Cedric the Entertainer, and go.
Now, let's take a look at this week's new releases.
Looks like I'm in Pumpkinhead II, which means I'm going to come face to face with some horrible demon any second now.
Hey, Brian.
Or him.
I just unwittingly resurrected Pumpkinhead with a handful of hapless teenagers. What do I do?
Why are demons always accidentally summoned by teenagers? Most adults I know are more than happy to go out of their way to avoid resurrecting a being of pure evil. But dumb kids egg one house and all hell breaks loose.
Well, for your information, we were actually just sitting there, minding our own business, hanging out with Justin Bieber, and helping little old ladies cross the street when it just happened.
You sure you aren't out egging houses and doing other mischievous teenagers/Justin Bieber stuff when it happened?
Nope, just hanging out watching Leave It to Beaver reruns.
Okay, your story just changed, and you're holding an empty egg carton.
We were making omelets? Also, I'm not a teenager, dude. I'm over 30.
Then you really should know better.
Yeah, so you want to meet Justin Bieber then?
Do I?
We were more concerned about doing justice to the Pumpkinhead character. You know, Stan's Pumpkinhead's excellent. You know, it's an iconic creature that, you know, remember forever. We were just trying to do our duty to that, to just honor what Stan had already established. Our Pumpkinhead suit had to do so much more stunt work. And Mark McCracken was in the suit. And Mark's a good guy, you know, he's a physical guy. I think the other Pumpkinhead had to just be more stoic, you know, more statuesque. So that was the difference too. We had to take into consideration, he had to be in the woods walking around and, you know, like elements and all kind of stuff. So I think that's why ours, you know, we did make him a little more beefier and more controllable for Mark to perform it also.
Brian, what is that?
It's my helper monkey.
But you're not even paralyzed.
Doesn't mean I can't have a helper monkey.
It sort of does, actually. They're really supposed to only be for people who actually need them. I mean, what does it help you with anyway?
It does my dishes and helps me murder people and changes the channel when my remote control batteries are dead, mostly.
Wait, what? Did you just say that it helps you?
No, I misspoke. It helps me murder people.
You just said it again.
Did I?
Yes.
Sorry, my mistake. I used this helper monkey to murder everyone who crosses my path. Or were you concerned about him doing my dishes?
Everything double checks.
A man trapped by his own body.
To Alan, to the start of his new life.
So you train monkeys exclusively for quadriplegics? How about if I were to donate a monkey?
She hasn't been exposed to anything weird in the lab.
No.
An animal trained to follow commands.
How am I supposed to take care of it, Jeff?
The idea is that it's going to take care of you.
She's unbelievable. She's like a miniature person. Get rid of that bird, or so help me.
One with the mind for revenge.
I've been so full of anger. I've had the most horrible thoughts lately.
I've made up a formulation based on human memory cells I've been injecting one of my monkeys.
I don't like this change in you, Alan.
The other with the instinct to kill.
What the hell are you doing to her? Ella is getting out of the house, and I'm getting out with her.
You do know that that's impossible.
Man is the only animal capable of murder.
Ella, no!
Until now.
She did it for me. Did it because I wanted it done. Stop it!
From the director of Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero, the master of terror and suspense.
You're not gonna hurt me. I'm part of you.
Monkey Shines, onion into terror.
Well, I've decided to go ahead and cancel your weekly shout-out. Now, it's been a good run, but it's coming to an end. Also, I'm going to go ahead and fire everyone that was ever involved with the show, and also kidnap and torture them in my dungeon.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
You just said you were canceling the show and kidnapping and torturing everyone involved.
What? I would never say that. You can't cancel me. This reminds me of The Dark Half, a film based on the Stephen King novel directed by George A. Romero and starring Timothy Hutton as an author whose alter ego becomes a physical entity who starts terrorizing... Oh no. I'm standing right next to me looking super evil, aren't I?
Yep.
Thad Beaumont has a secret.
I know all about it.
A piece of himself he keeps hidden.
You just don't want to give up George. You become attached to him.
Locked away until he needs it.
These behaviors could be interpreted as schizophrenia.
Away from the light, safe in the shadows.
I wrote those words, and I have no recollection of doing it.
But sometimes secrets take on a life of their own. Thad Beaumont thought he didn't need George Stark anymore.
The American way of death.
That's it.
He served his purpose. Time to lay him to rest. But George is not about to go quietly.
You really don't realize what you're like when you write those books, do you? It's like watching Jekyll turn into Hyde.
We're here to question you in connection with a capital crime. Evidence says you did it.
George Stark has somehow come to life.
Hello, George.
I can come closer to believe a ghost story than this. You're talking about a man who never was.
He wants to take over your life. Can't you see that?
Based upon a book by Stephen King comes George A. Romero's masterful vision of a nightmare come true.
Are you ready? Just waiting on you.
The Dark Half.
Also out this week, Brazilian Western, the Jimmy Wang Yu Collection, and Red Skelton, The Early Years. That's it for this week.
To see every episode of your weekly shout-out, be sure to subscribe to Shout Factory's YouTube channel. Then be sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
And don't forget to visit shoutfactory.com for all the latest in Blu-ray and DVD news and sales.
Till next week, I'm Brian Ward.
And I'm Jennifer Landa.
And you've been watching
Your Weekly Shout-Out.